The Bulls, along with 5 other franchises, have been involved since the inception of this tournament in 2019, which was created to bridge the gap. Face Watsonians Rugby from Edinburgh in both sides' first of 10 regular games, with each team playing home and away before the best placed teams face off in the final. We're very much looking forward to this one live on Free Sports. All the action coming from here, Millbrae, in around 15 minutes or so. But I'm delighted to say, joining me for this one, Chris Paterson, former Scotland captain. Chris, you definitely brought the sun with you here. But how great an opportunity is this for the guys to be playing on TV?
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? It's great to be back playing, first of all, you know, for so long without a game, a competitive game. And secondly, to be live on TV is excellent. There's so many bonuses towards it. It's going to build a bigger audience. It's going to put pressure on the players as well. And a lot of these players that want to make the step up to professional rugby, one of the things you have to deal with is dealing with pressure, dealing with, you know, playing on television. It can play with your mind a little bit. So it won't be the first experience for some of these players, but it will be for others, and it'll be interesting to see how it changes the dynamic of the game. But it's great for the future of the game, great for the growth of the FOSROC Super6, and we're looking forward to it.
When you talk about the step up there, can you go into, for people who haven't necessarily tuned in before and don't know what this league is all about, can you go into a little bit more detail of how big the step up and important it is for these guys to be playing this, to potentially be able to play for, say, Warriors or Edinburgh? Yeah,
I think it's vitally important that there's a new level of rugby created, and it's been created, you know, with the Super 6 competition 2 years ago. Obviously last year didn't get the games due to the pandemic, but it's I suppose the midpoint between the domestic game and the professional game. Now, a lot of these players will have aspirations of playing professional rugby, international rugby, absolutely. Others, this will be as high as they can get, as high as they want to be, and they'll commit entirely to it. There was 31 players who played and the first Super 6 years who went on to play for Edinburgh and Glasgow last season. 5 of those then made it to the Scotland summer squad that was selected. It didn't eventually go on tour, so there is that pathway set up. It's important for them, and I think it's vital, because closing that gap between the domestic game and the professional game is something that we have to do to provide opportunities for players to progress, and referees and coaches, and the whole, I suppose, the whole setup of rugby in Scotland.
Certainly is, and obviously a word on the game today as well. We have Ayrshire Bulls up against Watsonians Rugby. On paper, well, from the previous season, Watsonians Rugby were at the top of the table, playing great rugby. What can we expect today?
Unfortunately, probably mistakes early on, because these lads haven't played for a long time. You can prepare all you like, but that first competitive match forces mistakes. So seeing how players react to the mistakes, and it's going to be, although it's a negative, a really important thing, and a really important thing in terms of the momentum of the game. But Watsonians have had quite a big turnover in terms of their players and their staff from year one, but they'll find a game that suits them. Lee Miller, their standoff and captain's an experienced standoff. He'll make a lot of good decisions. And Ayr traditionally a big forward pack who like to keep it tight, but they've got some brilliant backs. Tom Jordan's wanted to look out for in the number 12 jersey, certainly at the start of the game. So we'll hope for an exciting game. The sun's out, hopefully it's going to be quick, and yeah, we'll just hopefully see these players enjoy their rugby after such a long period without it.
Absolutely, and we're certainly looking forward and ready to enjoy the game. Well, a little earlier on, I managed to catch up with both head coaches to get their thoughts ahead of the match. These guys haven't played a match in around 18 months. How excited are the boys to get going today?
Yeah, very excited. It'll be a mix between excitement and nervousness for them. But for us, look, if they just relax and do what we've been training and express themselves, then I think we'll have a good day.
And what about yourself too? You're quite fresh into the role as well. What can we expect from you?
Well, been a forwards coach and forwards and defence focus for the last 5 years, so hopefully that side of the game won't change. And then Pete Horn's been brought in, and he'll be really making his mark in attack, hopefully.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
Fergus, it's been a bit of a minute since you guys last played a competitive match. What's the mood in the camp at the moment?
Well, listen, the boys are really excited to get going. You know, it's been a long time since we've played, as everyone knows, but there's a lot of excitement, and we're looking forward to the challenge, you know, down here at Millbrae.
You had quite a bit of turnover since season 1. Who are you excited to see playing today? What can we expect?
Well, listen, we have had turnover, but like I've said before, a lot of that is positive turnover. You know, some guys stepping up into the pro ranks. We've got an exciting squad. You know, we've got a guy like Reece Cullen who's coming at 9. He's played professionally down south, and to be honest, we're focusing as a team collective. We think we've got a good squad together, and hopefully we can put together a good team performance today.
Well, thanks very much for your time and good luck.
Thank you very much.
So Chris is hot-footed off to the commentary box, which means it's not long now until kick-off, but that gives us just enough time to run you through a bit of drama yesterday afternoon between Stirling County and Southern Knights in a really tight-fought battle.
We'll come back to that as the game develops. Stretching them now. Baggett with the long pass out to the left wing. And he's in. The score. First score to Paddy Anderson. Out it comes Sterling. Again the floated pass, this time to their left winger, and he repeats the score. It's the Stirling County number 11, Logan Trotter. Stirling playing themselves back into the game quite nicely. Now with their second real assault on the Southern Knights line. Tightly knit, they have Bentham and they have the score. They've gone all the way. 7 minutes or thereabouts. There's a chance coming here though with a beautiful line, beautiful take and cut towards the corner by the Stirling County centre, Grant Hughes. Rennick joins the three again, and then he's got Andrew Mitchell, the winger, in there as well. All sorts of bodies being thrown at this, and he's given a penalty try this time. It's a penalty try. Coming in off the back. Barely moving now. Stirling have managed to hold them. They're claiming it, and they've got it. They've driven through the middle. Driving forward. Penalty coming as well for not rolling away. Beautiful little chip. Just a flick of the boot and over it went. Russell Anderson this time. Baggett. Jackson. Jackson's away. Jackson has cut through. He's on his own. Oh, and now that's trouble here for Stirling. There's trouble here for Stirling County. This could be and will be, but for me, Fraser Rennick of Southern Knights is the FOSROC Player of the Match. In they go. The Southern Knights sense that they could be on the point of snatching victory here. A penalty coming as well. Down they go, and they have the score. Anyway, they have the score. Baggett silently, he's missed it. He's missed it in the complete silence offered to him by Bridgehaw. He's been unable to make that conversion. Will they now have the nerve to go? It's been knocked on, and Ian Kenny, the referee, has called time, with the Southern Knights taking an early lead 5-0, and then 3 tries from Stirling County, putting them almost on easy street. But it was never easy for either team because they both had a go.
FOSROC Super 6 rugby games on FreeSports. It's Ayrshire Bulls taking on Watsonians Rugby. Chris Paterson is alongside Stuart McFarlane for this one.
The Bulls. The Bullets.
Good afternoon and welcome along to Milbury, home of Ayrshire Bulls. A beautiful afternoon on the west side of Scotland. A very pleasant drive through for myself and Chris Paterson coming through from Edinburgh. And this, of course, the third and final match of the first weekend of the Super 6 competition, and here's the teams with Jimmy Forbes in at fullback for Watsonians, Marty Davidson occupying the 15 jersey for Ayrshire Bulls, and Chris Paterson. Plenty of talent on both those sides.
There is a lot of familiar names, some newer names as well. Traditionally Ayr are big and strong up front. They've added that with some championship experience, especially in the second row. But look out for their centre pairing for Ayrshire Bulls, Tom Jordan, Tom Williams. A lot is expected from them in an attacking perspective. Watsonians, Rhys Cullen comes back returning after playing down south at 9. He's a live wire. Lee Miller at number 10 as well as an experienced operator and captain of the Watsonians Rugby.
Plenty of strength and depth on the bench there, as we see from both sides. Late change teams in terms of numbers, but also in personnel. Stephen Longwell drops out for Watsonians, replaced by Thomas Jeffrey on the bench. Teams just preparing to come out the changing rooms, and we will have a minute's silence before the start of the game. This, of course, the first match at Milbury in almost 18 months, so both clubs have agreed to have a minute's silence before kick-off, just to recognise several club stalwarts from both Ayrshire Bulls and Watsonians who passed away in the last 18 months. Just a reminder of the games played so far. Friday evening at Meggetland, a close run affair, 15 points to 13, a win for Boroughmuir Bears over Heriots. 24-all draw between Stirling County and Southern Knights yesterday afternoon. Teams then coming onto the field of play. Watsonians in their maroon and white shorts and maroon and white socks. And you hear the strains of the pipes in the background. Alistair Brown of Alloway is the piper, and a cheer from the sponsors. Elected guests who are inside Milbury this afternoon for this opening fixture, greeting onto the field of play Blair McPherson and Ayr, who will go into a huddle just before kick-off. And Chris, these players have waited 18 months for this opportunity. They'll be, you know, having watched 2 matches in the competition already, geared up and raring to go on a day like this.
Yeah, and those last 2 days will probably seem the longest. You know, the 18 months is a long time, but then once your competitors and your opposition teams start, it's those 2 days make it even longer. We're just going to observe that moment of silence in a minute or so the players will be desperate to get up and running.
Our match official this afternoon is Finlay Brown, as the players just make their way across to face the main stand for the 1 minute silence. Perfectly. The minute silence then is complete, and the referee back to the halfway line.
Yeah, just as you're saying, Stuart, before that moment of silence, these players were desperate to play. We expect some rust, obviously, as well, because they haven't played for so long, competitive games for 18 months or so. A lot of excitement, a lot of nerves, playing at a different time of year as well. All host of different things to deal with, but I think the biggest emotion for all these players will just be the excitement of getting back on a competitive rugby field, an opportunity to showcase their talent.
Yes, perfectly observed minute silence, and the match referee
Finlay Brown just watching on as here we'll get this match underway just on the halfway line. They've got Matthew Minogue, the Australian, starting at fly half, and Watsonians, the visiting side. These sides, of course, last played here on the 21st of December 2019, and the Ayrshire Bulls winning that contest by 19 points to 13. The referee now puts his time on, and we get underway then in the bright Ayrshire sunshine, pinged forward by Minogue just into that right hand corner there as Watsonians trying to work it from their right hand side on the edge of the 22. Rhys Cullen, who Chris has mentioned already, just with a little pass infield, occupying the position on the edge of the 22 now. As the box kick carries the 10 metre line, finds the opposite number, Jordan Lanack. And Lanack there winning back possession for Ayr. Todd begins to form, and Ayr looking to work it through their hooker Audrey Tanner up towards the halfway line. It's a steal though, and turnover ball. Ayr have it on the halfway, looking to make some inroads into the Ayr half. Watsonians it is. Cullen once again out towards Loman McPherson on this right hand side. He goes to deck, Cullen just goes in behind him, has a look to his right hand side, and once again with some ground. Cullen mops up once more on there towards Lee Miller, again an experienced campaign. Watsonians at fly half. Cullen goes in once more, almost like a Billy Whiz character with the little tuft of hair at the front of the forehead. Just his position as Ayr have won back possession, and now they're a fraction inside the Watsonians half. Both sides looking to get hands on the ball early on. Advantage coming the way of Ayr. All that, albeit very briefly, for a knock on. And Chris Paterson, what have you made? Both sides at least getting a touch of the ball in the early stages.
Yeah, looking to play, obviously the kick-off was well received by Watsonians. Went to that box kick play early on from Rhys Cullen. His opposite number, Lanack, did well to control the high ball, and then we fell into this period of play in between the two 10-metre lines. So much of the rugby we see now is in that area of the field. I think there's opportunities to get that pass a little bit wider at times to stretch the defence. Loman McPherson did well to carry the ball, but he was hit hard by Blair McPherson, this near side, and there's a little bit nervousness around it, understandably, but I'd say probably more possession for Ayr so far, and they get the first put into the scrum.
Jordan Lanack, Australian-born, vice-captain of Ayrshire Bulls. Squats down, Cullen's alongside him. The ball stuck. Ball is now available, and the scrum half is able to pick up the little decoy run there from Tom Jordan. And they're looking to try and make ground up towards halfway. Lanack once again. Tackle coming in there, solid challenge from Van Niekerk in the second row for Watsonians. But they are able to ship it wide out towards the right hand side, up towards halfway, and recycled by Lanack once again. Taken on by the Ayrshire Bulls number 8 and skipper Blair McPherson. It's making a fraction of ground inside the Watsonians half. Out it comes to Robert Beattie on this right hand side. Plants the ball back, but one back by Watsonians. The referee though has signalled a high challenge.
Number 14 high
Ayr
tackle.
will get the penalty just 5 or so metres in from touch inside the Watsonians half of the field.
Yeah, Ayr controlling possession, running it, and just getting to that edge. Robert Beattie, Bobby Beattie, one of the returning players, spent some time at Glasgow Warriors, London Scottish as well, just well marshalled by Loman McPherson on that right hand side, but the tackle was high, slipped up just around the head and neck after the initial contact, and Minogue's popped the ball into 22, and you say, although not a huge amount has happened so far, Ayr are controlling possession a little bit better, building through the phases and finding a little bit of space in the right wing with Bobby Beattie, that man there. Matthew Minogue's been involved, and he'll be the key decision maker in that Ayr backline. A comms issue with the referee. Give a wee bit of break in this heat, including us. I think absolutely, it's a glorious afternoon, almost a cloudless sky overhead. As we watch now, the Welshman Audrey Tanner throwing in here for Ayrshire Bulls. One in the middle of the line, taken on by Lanack. Some pace being used by the centres. Jordan was the first receiver off the pass from his scrum half there. Recycled again. Jordan has it once more, trying to work out towards the left hand side. Beattie again running in.
making a nuisance of himself just on the edge of that Watsonians 22. That pass looked a fraction forward, the referee has signalled so. And another intelligent break there from Ayrshire Bulls, shipping it from one side to the other very quickly, and they've certainly started on the front foot.
Yeah, I like their attacking shape actually. Tom Jordan, who's an impressive player at number 12, he can play number 10, has played 13 as well, comfortable across those positions, being at first receiver. But they're looking to give that extra pass. Blair McPherson carried first up off the line out and got in behind, and then after 2 or 3 almost late passes at line, just testing the Watsonians defence, Ryan Sweeney breaks through, but the offload then is just forward. Just drifts forward there, but you can see the intent, the attacking intent to keep the ball moving, whether it's just before the tackle or in the tackle. The good defence of Watsonians held firm. They now have the opportunity to clear the lines.
Cullen back in Watsonians colours after a spell with several clubs south of the border, picked up there by his number 8, and Sam Daly trying to make some ground up towards the edge of the 22. Watsonians looking to recycle here. Here comes again Miller with the right boot, again on the angle. The Elgin-born former Gala standoff, who himself has enjoyed a bit of success in the British and Irish Cup. I remember back in 2013 when Gala had a very good victory over London Scottish. So a lot of these players have played at a very good level, whether it's been domestic level in Scotland or indeed when they've hit Forest South.
Yeah, and he's a composed player, Lee Miller, captain as well. And you can see it's a composed exit by Watsonians. Good carry from Sam Daly in the middle of the field, and then opens up that kicking option for Lee Miller again. And that's not the straightest line out that will play on. Advantage to Watsonians here.
And it's untidy there, and they had plenty of players there just latching onto that loose throw-in. We've seen a few of those in the matches so far, either overthrows or misunderstanding. Matt Davidson in a little bit of trouble inside his own 22, is carrying out there, as you can see, towards the touch line. They've now recycled up towards the edge of the 22. Finlay Brown, the referee, you can hear in the background. It's now played downfield towards that 10 metre line, but it lands pretty much between the 22 and the 10 metre line.
Hey, we're back in this middle section of the field, wasn't it? Minogue's kick, he would hope for more distance there, I think, but the important thing from Ayr's perspective was it got off the field, because Watsonians had their tails up a little bit. A little nice little kick from Rhys Cullen, a dink just over the top of that front line, forcing Matt Davidson to deal with a bobbling ball, and then the chase line coming forward, and obviously Watsonians forcing the kick out. They get the throw into the line out.
Davis, this time it's the Watsonians line out, just goes astray, and chasing after it is their fullback here, Jamie Forbes. Picks up under a bit of pressure there, and there's a good line run there from Fantina. Harry Fantina in the back row for Ayrshire Bulls, showing plenty of acceleration for the back row forward. Still on the edge of the 22. Another penalty this time conceded by Ayrshire Bulls, 1 or 2 just creeping into the contest in 7.5 minutes of this first half gone.
Yeah, a couple of mislinings from both teams, or one misline for both teams. You can see the knock-on effect. That time it was Fantini picked up the loose ball at the back of the line, and then kicked it downfield. Former England Sevens player, and he had the ability to chase and put Forbes under pressure, the fullback. But then I think it was George Thornton was penalised for not wrapping his arms in the tackle, just allowing Watsonians that penalty, or winning Watsonians that penalty. And again, we keep saying it, and this isn't specific to this game. We see a lot of rugby now in this middle third, don't we, between the 10 metre lines, and especially early on in the games where the teams are trying to get control. Another issue at the line out, dummy throw from Carl Davis.
Another line out mistake there, this time from Watsonians, and Davis. It's a little tap, played downfield, free kick awarded to Ayrshire Bulls, up inside the Watsonians 22. And he's played that downfield with Ayr 3-4 players back just on the edge of their own 22, looking to accelerate up towards the halfway line. Ayr have got the advantage at the moment, the referee allowing a second or 2. Watsonians penalised on the halfway line.
You're on the wrong side, you've got to move.
Watsonians penalised for not rolling away. Jamie Forbes appeals his case. But Finlay Brown is still allowing this opportunity now for Ayr to gain some ground inside the Watsonians half.
Yeah, it's the first area of the breakdown. The referees will look at that tackle rolling away. If he lies there too long, if he prevents a clear opportunity for both sides to attack the breakdown, he'll be penalised. So Jamie Ford's good tackle actually in Robin Earman, former Watsonians pupil actually. Big Glasgow Warriors winger, carried back hard, was well tackled, and then Forbes, having done the first bit really well, just has to get out that breakdown quicker.
Tanner with the throw. Again, just trying to reach for it there was Bloodworth, vice captain in the second row for Ayrshire Bulls, but it's back to Miller now, receiving the pass from Cullen, and a deep kick downfield, and again Robbie Nairn is back with his full back there, Matt Davidson. Davidson has a bit of time to opt to run up towards the edge of the 22. Pitch remains very, very firm. The ground staff have been watering it for some days now because of the very dry July that we've had, and it remains a very firm surface. Just the action camped on the edge of the Ayrshire Bulls 22 on that left hand side. Box kick just carries the 22 and not much further, clatters off the tin roof on the top of the main stand.
An interesting kick there from Lee Miller. We're playing under any new global law trials, and Lee Miller kicked it from deep there. He got over the head of Robin Nairn. If that ball had bobbled out to touch, it would have been in the 22. It would have been actually Watsonian's throw. Robin Nairn did well to keep it alive, but the pass and field to Matt Davidson put him under pressure. So the extra effort to keep the ball alive to prevent it going out, and it was a good chase from Watsonians.
Once again, Watsonians, Cullen once more just tries to dance his way out of trouble and round a few corners and force down towards the touchline there. Spells at Doncaster, Rotherham and Bristol. Very good sevens exponent as well. Here he is again, Cullen on once more. Miller will do his bit as well. There's the chip, almost read perfectly there by Loman McPherson, who was coming up, but two knock-on spotted by our referee Finlay Brown.
Contact in the air. Okay.
Also, second row penalised for contact in the air.
Contact in the air, number 5.
Edward Bloodworth penalised at the line out. It's Harvey Elms with the crossfield kick. There was a bit of space for Loman McPherson. He just couldn't quite control it on that penalty advantage. And it's going to be the first opportunity for points for Lee Miller. I think it was Rhys Cullen again from a messy line out, trying to make some space up that short side. Come back for the contact in the air. Lee Miller, his first opportunity of the season.
12 minutes on the clock for the first points on the board this afternoon. No scoring at the moment. Lee Miller look to
speak to their 9 as well.
Get his tally for the season off and running
just
with this penalty goal
attempt.
attempt.
Just leave it.
All eyes then on the Watsonian standoff. It's a clean strike from Miller, no problems at all. So 12 and a half minutes on the clock. Lee Miller and Watsonians have the lead 3 points to nil, courtesy of the standoff. And any kicker is delighted to land the first one, especially when you've not been playing competitively for 18 months.
Well, that's a big thing, isn't it? You can practice all you like, but getting that match practice is very, very difficult. But he's composed, Lee Miller, and Watsonians have probably deserved that lead. I think Ayr started the better, but Watsonians have had an element of control, especially around the discipline, that's allowed them to get up the field, force Ayr to play from deep, and then they've had the rewarded first points of the day.
Cullen again goes in, distinct squat position for the box kick. On that right hand side, again here, 3-4 players back just on the edge of halfway to gather and take the ball into contact. And Mac once again just takes the ball, feeds it inside on that right hand side, nice and central. And there's a platform, just reverses and opts to bring in Blair McPherson again, just round the corner. And that once again taken on by the second row forward, Tom Everard this time. He's made some ground, just a fraction inside the Watsonians half of the field. Lanark once more. Again, Watsonians need to be alert at the pace and power of this Ayrshire side. Comes back on the Watsonian side though, so that was good cover defence there and turnover ball. Opportunity now, inside centre, taking it on a run there. And Sear taking the ball up towards and just over the halfway line. He goes to ground. Watsonians maybe a little bit slow there to recycle the ball, knocking on in the process. And that was an encouraging break there, initially from Ayrshire Bulls, but mopped up very well by Watsonians, and they were trying to return the ball with some interest.
Yeah, it was Tom Jordan who broke the front line for Ayr, but then lost possession and contact, whether it was stripped or whether he just lost it in attack, I'm not sure, but you can see Watsonians really coming alive. Jamie Forbes is a quality player at fullback. He actually could maybe had an opportunity to kick as well, but decided to keep it in hand. Good to see Lewis Berg carrying it hard into the midfield, but once it came out there was a knock on from Angus Williams, just who's played for Edinburgh Rugby recently as well, just knocked on in the midfield. And we're back to this area, I keep saying it, this middle area of the field, and when you don't have either a huge amount of discipline or there's quite a lot of mistakes in the game, we often find ourselves in this position of the field. But it's a good scrum from Watsonians.
Lanac from the corner just gets a little bit of position and distance and aims a kick for the corner that goes out in the full. And this assistant referee down below us from our position just will take play back towards the halfway line. Be a throw in for Watsonians. But just a word on Jordan Lanac, Australian born. His great grandfather was Tom Helm, who represented Hawick in the early part of the 20th century and also the south of Scotland. He emigrated to Australia and passed away in Australia, but Lanac has certainly got strong Scottish connections in his ancestry. And here the throw in for Carl Davis. Cullen is able to pick up again as Miller in position. Watsonians trying to make some ground out towards halfway. Cullen once more, chip kick there from Coetzee. Down that Watsonians right hand side. Ayrshire Bulls had covered players across, but very close to the touchline there, bundled into touch. And Watsonians have certainly a spring in their step of having taken the lead in 13 minutes. We've now played 16 minutes, 3-0 to the visitors.
Yeah, and they're defending well, Watsonians, and they're forcing these turnovers. That's maybe 3 or almost 4 occasions now where Ayr have collected the ball initially quite well, but lost the ball in the contact in the tackle, whether it's been stripped. Maybe it's a tactic for Watsonians to target that ball and try and rip it out. It'll be sweaty, it'll be slippy, but they're certainly fixed the line it was, and they're defending particularly well as well.
Recycled again and carried with some purpose there. Carl May looking to get himself involved in the action. Cullen again out towards the space, as you can see on that right hand side, but he'll bring it back in field, taken on this time by Carl Davis in open play. Up towards, that's the Ayrshire Bulls 10-metre line. Still making some ground, steady pace, 18 months off for these players. They want to ease their way into the contest, but very, very enthusiastic and wanting to make a contribution very early on. Cullen, once again they're queuing up to take possession of the ball outside centre there. Lewis Berg up towards the edge of the 10-metre line. The referee spots another infringement. Watsonians conceding possession and the opportunity to gain further ground into the Ayrshire Bulls half of the field. Remains Watsonians in front by 3 points to 0. Here are the thoughts of Chris Paterson.
Yeah, turnover comes for Ayr this time. Lewis Berg just getting held up, and once it becomes a maul, obviously, once it collapses, Ayr don't have to roll away. But it'd be interesting to see that again, because it actually looked as if once the referee had called a maul, Ayr came in and tackled it, which you aren't allowed to do. You can't then bring it down, but it was good defence initially by Ayr.
The scrummage in this popular section of the pitch. Chris had mentioned just between that 10 and halfway line.
This is the way, that's Lewis Berg being held up, and just Tom Jordan coming in once. No, I was wrong, it was a Watsonians player at the far side that brought it down. I thought it was an Ayr player. Good refereeing for Finlay Brown. Good turnover, and this is where I think Ayr just need to maybe keep possession, look after possession for that little bit longer.
Minogue goes under a bit of pressure here, and suddenly Watsonians are away. A clean pair of heels. They're going to be underneath the posts for the opening score. And that was great play by Harvey Elms, just cutting a perfect line. He had so much open plane inside the Ayrshire Bulls 22 to run into there. And Harvey Elms, who's 31 Scottish, 7 strides to his name, scores the opening try of this game inside the opening quarter.
Well, just as we were saying, what I think Ayr needed was to look after possession, to maintain possession for a few phases. But from the first phase attack, it's an interesting shape, but the ball goes to the ground there under pressure from the Watsonians defence flying up. and it's that Lewisberg who picks up and slips it to Harvey Elms. So it's a blitz defence, working really hard to get off the line, put the attack under pressure. Ayr just need to hold on to that possession, but there's the slip pass to Harvey Elms, and he's quick. All that experience, as you say, in the 7th circuit, and it's a hammer blow. It's almost perfect away from home tactics from Watsonians. Force the error through your defence and take your opportunity when it comes.
10 points to 0 then for the visitors. It's been a very productive opening 19.5 minutes, and Elms in for the opening try of the game. Harvey Elms, there we can see him be delighted, hands on hips, but delighted with the fact he's got a try on the board inside the opening quarter of the game. As the restart by Matthew Minogue, again aiming for that Watsonians right hand corner of the top end of the 22. Cullen with the outstretched left arm, looking to feed the ball into for the forwards that have formed there, looking to make some ground. So the Elms try has opened the scoring, as Ayrshire Bulls penalised for not rolling away. Good work again from Carl Main.
Roll away.
Yes, this is a try again. Yeah, you can see what Ayr are trying to do. Free Bobby Beattie from that short pass from Minogue, but because the blitz defence came up, just took that extra half second away from them. That pass is under pressure. It goes to the ground. Watsonians react first because they're flooding forward onto it, and Harvey Elms finishes that really easily, and then as a result actually backing up the try by a fantastic receipt from the kick-off from Watsonians. I think Badenhorst was involved, and then a similar penalty from Finlay Brown that Ayr have given away for not rolling away in the tackle. So that tackling player has to roll away quickly to allow a free contest the ball.
Watsonians then with the line out here. Carl Davis, again plenty of height on the ball, challenged at the back of the line. Advantage being played by the referee. It's back now with Ayrshire Bulls, backs and forwards alike, trying to work it down the right hand side and escaping the tensions here. Robert Beattie up towards the 10 metre line is tackled. Reinforcements coming in the form of McPherson, the captain. He's tackled to the ground very quickly, but some support coming in behind there. Fantina, box kick delivered by Lynette. Again, that goes out just on the referee penalising Watsonians for not rolling away.
On the wrong side.
But the kick downfield was the obvious option from open play there. It'll come back for the Watsonians penalty for not rolling away, and I'd imagine they'll ping this one into the corner, very similar to the very first line out of the game.
Yeah, it's the same penalty again, isn't it? It's consistent from the referee. That tackler not rolling away now. As hard as it looks, Harrison Courtney was penalised there. He was on the wrong side, and it's difficult because the Ayr players won't just let you get out there. You've got to get out quickly. So almost I suppose the priority is not getting in that position as a tackler, because it's very difficult to get out there. Just as soon as you can, try not to lie on the wrong side. And I say Harrison Courtney just been penalised, as were Ayr, just fractions, moments before. Now Ayr can launch from inside the 20. First attacking opportunity really since the opening minutes.
Tanner's throw, and he's desperate to get the ball back, tucked under that left arm there. Watsonians just forcing them wide. It's been stripped by Lynette there. They're coming on at a rate of knots outside centre. Tom Williams coming onto the ball, held up just on the try line. McPherson now tries to spin round. Advantage for Ayr as Watsonians right winger is offside, but they work it round the corner, and Matthew Minogue, the Australian, is in for a reply score for Ayrshire Bulls, coming exactly 23 minutes into the first half, and how the home side were needing to respond. As from the point of Watsonians opening the scoring with that Miller penalty, they've really been the side on top in the last 10 minutes, but an important response from the home side.
Yeah, an important response and a well worked try actually. Good line out, good drive, put under pressure immediately. Then you can see once Ayr keep a hold of possession and build through the phases, they've got so many attacking options, and the ability to distribute is going to stress the defence. It was Tom Williams who went through nearest the line first. Great tackle, I think it was by Loman McPherson, and then Blair McPherson then carried for Ayr. He was stopped just short. The ball comes back quickly, a wide pass from Malak to Minogue, who managed to skip on the outside and score. So through building possession and keeping hold of the ball, the attacking players have the ability to finish it off, and Ayr showed that there.
Yeah, the two Australians linking up very well at 9 and 10. And watching this conversion attempt, just as you can see on the angle on the edge of the 22. And this to bring them back to within 3 points, no problems at all. It's a 3-point game as we approach the 25th minute of the match.
It was an important time for Ayr to get some points on the board, running after the good start, falling behind it. Yeah, that's the finish. It's Minogue just getting on the outside. The damage had been done before from the breaks from Williams, the carry from McPherson, and then ultimately the quick ball for Ayr. And it's a good score.
Minogue converting his own try. And the match finally poised, approaching the half-hour mark from the restart. Ayrshire Bulls now looking to make some ground. A very warm Sunday afternoon, and we're delighted to have your company with us on the third and final match of week 1 of the FOSROC Super6 competition. And underneath this one is Loman McPherson, back now towards his fly half there, Lee Miller. Miller still has it, eventually goes to ground. McPherson goes in behind us to lend his support. This is Cullen on once more, taken into contact and bundled off it. Here is Harrison Courtney. Cullen once again onto the outside centre, Lewis Berg, joined there by Jamie Forbes, the Watsonians fullback. Cullen again, on this time towards Van Niekerk in the second row. Blair McPherson's been penalised for a high tackle. Cullen eager to get on with it very quickly. Little 1-2 with his outside centre Williams there, up towards the edge of the 22. Some acceleration and urgency shown by Watsonians, but they give the penalty away on the edge of the 22. Getting a little bit feisty there. Jamie Forbes involved, but backs away.
Isolated, holding on.
Match very much coming to life in the last couple of minutes, Chris.
Yeah, Rhys Cullen taking a quick tap penalty, and then it was actually a 1-2, and I think it was Matt Davidson with a big defence for Ayrshire Bulls, and then Fantini was in to win the penalty. But you can see the threat that Cullen brings. Whether or not it's the right thing to do, I like to see the tempo in the game. Whether or not it's the right thing to do after conceding points and winning a penalty in the opposition half, I'm not sure, but I do like the endeavour, the attacking edge they're trying to bring to this game. But it was good defence ultimately from Ayr to win the turnover back.
I suppose after a gap of 18 months or so, the defensive aspect, there's some excitement, but the defensive aspect of the game is maybe easier to drill into the players. It'll take some time for the creative edge to show.
Well, that's the thing, and that's probably where we are in rugby at the moment. If you're brave and if you're fit and your systems are quite simple and you adhere to them, defence should be quite simple. Whereas attack, you have to be far more creative. You have to try and publish far more decisions for the defence. But I do like that quick tempo that Cullen tries to bring.
Sam Daly again snatching the ball there from a Ayrshire Bulls line out, so the set play is something that both sides will certainly be looking at in the opening near half hour of the game. Out again towards the outside centre, Williams in a bit of trouble there. Berg is taking it up for Watsonians. Williams was able to close the door though. Cullen once again, Watsonians working it down their right hand side inside Ayrshire Bulls territory. Cullen will be very hungry to get back involved in the action up here. Once again, Carl Main just taking his eyes off it just ever so slightly. Back towards Miller. It's the flatter kick gathered though. 2 players back. Nairn's going to occupy a fairly deep lying defensive position inside the 22, along with Davidson and Beattie as the back 3 for Ayrshire Bulls this afternoon. But the match so far, you have to see, seesawing quite nicely with 28 minutes gone. Both sides have had the upper hand at stages in the first half, and we've only 3 points separating the sides.
Yeah, you can see Lee Miller there just realising that Watsonians didn't get the goal forward, so he pops the ball in behind. Matt Davidson covers it quite well. He's probably looking for more distance on that clearance kick.
Fisher an option in the line out towards the front of the line to secure some ball for Watsonians. Again, Cullen just waiting patiently. But that was great work there from the clutch of Ayrshire Bull forwards, and things getting just a little bit heated in there. The first real set 2. Tempers beginning to get a little frayed. You can hear the voice of Finlay Brown in the background, just trying to calm things down.
Yeah, it's no need for this. Really excited. I know I've been out the game for a wee while, but it's just no need for it really. The amount of goading and applauding and celebrating. We're going to have another wee look at. Initially, really good defence by Ayrshire Bulls.
player celebrating that caused that ruckus. Can't have that, penalty against top line. Can't have a player running in from 20 metres that started all that flare up. That's it, ends there. It's going to be a penalty to red. Have a word, please.
The referee quite frank in his the talk to Blair McPherson, directing up very much to the Ayrshire Bulls captain. Players running in from a distance to get involved and
shot called,
celebrating that penalty win, but it's now gone the way of Watsonians.
Yeah, by all means celebrate what you've done well, but the level of goading and instigation I think is something that is it's frustrating part watching the game. The frustrating part of the game really, and that's well dealt with Finlay Brown. There's no need really for everybody to run in and pat your own player in the back, but the level of goading, because it will create a flashpoint, it will create something nasty, and ultimately what was an excellent piece of work from Ayr has been undone by some over exuberance, and it's another opportunity for Lee Miller.
Miller then, this by far and away the hardest kick he's had so far. Hardly a breath of wind around Bilbray this afternoon. So he's a few steps inside the Ayrshire Bulls half of the field. Clean strike. Now has that got the legs and the angle and accuracy? It has. An absolute beauty there. As we mentioned, he's had a spell at Curry as well, but he's enjoying his time at Watsonians and he's having a very productive afternoon. And with just over 30 minutes played, Watsonians extending their advantage to 13-7.
That's an excellent kick from Lee Miller on the angle. It must be near on 50 metres, well struck. And again, Watsonians have managed to, get themselves ahead in the game by taking opportunities given to them. The try came from a good defence, and the penalties have come from very little time spent in the 22 of Ayrshire Bulls, but when they have been down there, it's been accurate.
Minogue this time not as close to the corner and the edge of the 22. Watsonians now have possession with Cullen again, lining up the box kick. That should just about carry halfway. Well, it's actually just gone straight out there on the full. Got plenty of purchase on that, but the angle all wrong. So a mistake made by the Watsonians number 9, and a very good attacking platform now for Ayrshire Bulls to build something from inside the Watsonians 22.
Yeah, and that's what the Ayrshire Bulls should be saying, and the leaders should be working. Listen, let's keep hold of possession here. We haven't had it. We've not been able to control much of the game. Get a good set piece, keep possession, and try and stress the Watsonians defence, which has been excellent so far.
Ayrshire Bulls again using the forwards and their power both sides. I was going to say that the clubs certainly know each other well, but there's been plenty of changes in personnel on both sides since the first season of the FOSROC Super6 competition ended almost 18 months ago. Ayrshire still in possession of the ball inside the 22. This time it's the Watsonians defence that are certainly doing a lot of hard work there. McPherson is the player penalised on this occasion.
He's never changed his
Ayrshire Bulls captain.
Number 9 dragging a player out the mall. 6, just make the move. Thanks, Graham.
We need to have another look at that. It looked well controlled, it was well bound, it was moving forward from here. And they're saying because I think it was Sam Daly that was on the wrong side of the ball, but he was there legally because he was there the whole time, was then dragged out by one of the Ayr players.
On the line, please.
Penalty. This is a Maul, good body position, driving forward, it's hard to see.
Let's get in, please.
And there, but number 9 just at the back of that, dragging the Watsonians number 8 Sam Daly out of there. That's deemed to be a penalty offence, and the forwards will be frustrated. That's another soft penalty against Ayr when they're in the position to apply pressure. Frustrating for the home side.
So water carriers off the field of play, and Watsonians looking to throw the ball in at the line out towards again at the back of the line. One well in the line there. I think it was ultimately Badnorst that got hands on the ball. Barging out the way there, Carl Main trying to accelerate into the Ayrshire Bulls half of the field. Recycled by Cullen, on towards Miller again. He grounds the ball, Cullen has it once more. Ayr on the front foot just now, trying to make some ground. They're up past that 10 metre line inside the Ayr half of the field. Approaching the final 7 minutes of this game, but penalties been conceded at regular intervals by both sides, and this time Van Niekerk is the player penalised. 7 minutes of the first half left to play, and Ayrshire Bulls 7, Watsonians 13 is the scoreline.
Yeah, it's an excellent turnover. Fantini that must be his second, if not second, in
maybe his third turnover, that classic Jackal turnover penalty, gets him so quickly, such a strong base, and winning the penalty, and he's rewarded quickly by the referee because he tries to lift the ball. He's trying to win that turnover, and then I say Van Neerkirk's penalised for holding on, but Ayrshire Bulls number 7 is very, very good in that position over the ball.
Throwing now for Ayrshire Bulls. Tanner throwing the ball in once again. That's well executed. Lanack once more on towards Minogue. Carried forward here. Some power being shown. Carl Main just trying to slow up the Ayrshire Bulls charge as it comes back to the back rows, who are just taking it in turns to run up towards the edge of that 22 and try and force Watsonians on the back foot once again. Minogue out towards the left hand side. Lowland McPherson takes the ball up towards the left hand side. Recycled again. This time second row forward. Dodworth takes the ball on from halfway. Here's the chip kick. It bounces into touch there. Miller was scampering after it. It was a decent kick from hand there from Minogue, forcing Watsonians back into their own half of the field.
Clever
both
kick.
sides trying to vary the play.
Yeah, clever kick from Minogue that time, because the Watsonians defence is excellent. It's coming up really quickly, it's tight, and it's making ground defence, if that makes sense. I think it was Bobby Beattie, one of the players who was hit behind the gain line, and then that flat line, that flat hard line, so hard to break down when you have to retreat to win possession back. Minogue knows that, he drops deep, and because that defence is coming up so quickly, he finds the space in behind it. Well played, the number 10.
Defensive throw in for Watsonians. One there by Badenhorst in the line. They want a clean exit from inside their own 22. Reinforcements coming in there. Carl Main being one of them. Taken up and just outside that 22. The lines on the pitch here at Mulberry are pretty faint as we're watching on from our little scaffold position opposite the main stand. Cullen again, ready to deliver the box kick. Got a bit of height on that. The last one went out on the full. Again under pressure there is number 19. Wearing 19 of course is Robbie Nairn, occupying that left wing position. But Ayrshire Bulls have it now with their outside centre. Williams on now towards Beattie. Beattie slowed up just on that 10 metre line. Watsonians remain solid and mobile in defence. Lanack appealing, now gets the ball and recycles on to his back row forward there, Ryan Sweeney. Lanack again, box kick which should bounce a couple of times. That bounces once on that very hard surface and into touch inside the 22. Down the Ayrshire Bulls right hand side this time. And the home side trailing by 6 points are looking to certainly add points on the board before half time, and have time to do so.
Yes, clever play again from Lanack, number 9. And this looks to me as if the Ayrshire Bulls players on the field, the message is probably coming on from the coaching staff, have figured out the threat of Watsonians' defensive press, because Minogue's had that lovely kick just the phase before. Now Lanack has chipped the ball over the top and they're forcing Watsonians to play from deep. A lovely counter attack as well from Ayrshire Bulls. Robbie Nairn won the ball in there. He managed to offload it to Matt Davidson, who picked it up off his bootlaces. A really nice pick up, and then Jordan was able to fling it to the right hand side with Bobby Beattie stretching the defence over this side. So good counter attack, but ultimately after 2-3 phases, when that Watsonians defence is reorganised really quickly, coming up nice and hard, the Ayrshire Bulls 9 and 10 have found that, have recognised that, and are finding space in behind.
And Robert Beattie has picked up an injury there, just receiving a little bit of treatment on the top. Just looking back at the score lines when these sides met in the inaugural season of the FOSROC Super 6 competition. We mentioned Ayrshire Bulls winning 1913 just before Christmas time of 2019. Watsonians within the month had levelled things up at 1-1, a 27-10 win at Myerside. Back to the action, and Ayrshire Bulls remaining deep inside Watsonians territory. Forced sideways here, but plenty of pitch to work with, a bit of blind side as well. Watching on, it's the loose head prop George Thornton, but it's been pinged downfield by Cullen, not quite a touch finder. Found the arms of Tom Williams, and now out towards Robbie Nairn. Floats the pass, it was an awkward bounce, but it's taken well on that left hand side. Ian Watsonians cover play just across, protecting their own 10 metre line, as the Bulls once again recycle. Sweeney this time takes it forward with some purpose beyond the 10. Recycled by Lanack on towards Minogue. The loose head props Thornton again.
crashing into contact, goes loose, but is picked up now second row forward. Bloodworth on now to the replacement winger, so Robert Beattie has been replaced by Aaron Tate, and Tate now looking to get involved in the action. Caught up there, back row forward, losing possession. Suddenly Watsonians now galloping up and over the halfway line at second row forward. Badenhorst, the sole runner there, galloping his way beyond the 10 metre line, but caught between the 10 and the 22, taking the ball into contact. A great interception and showing a bit of pace for a second row forward, but how Watsonians, one of their speed merchants in possession on that occasion.
Yeah, Michael Badenhorst reacting to that loose ball again. Watsonians defence forcing error. There's Badenhorst, picks up, he gets the knees going, and he does really well. There's no criticism at all here of Badenhorst. There's no support with him when he goes down. Great tackle from Minogue. Look how quickly he gets back to his feet in that strong position over the top of the ball. Textbook defence from the little number 10. A to make the tackle, B to get up and win that turnover. Crucial. The clear out from Watsonians had to be better, but Minogue was in a brilliant position and he saved his team there.
Throw in inside the Watsonians half of the field, opposite the main stand, and it will be Rodri Tanner again just lining up this throw, again aiming towards the back of the line, and it's a clean win in the air by the second row forward Tom Everard. Ayrshire Bulls making some ground, just hovering on that 10 metre line in between the 5 and 15 channels. Lanack again reaching in to try and get possession, but it's continued on there by Tanner. The hooker is able to make some ground. Watsonians defence reorganised. Lanack again onto Bloodworth. And there was an engineering degree to his name, as it's taken on inside centre. Tom Jordan now trying to make some ground up towards the 22. Lanack on towards Minogue. 3 players over on that left hand side. Some pace now for the outside centre. Can he find his man? He's been forced into touch there, but Tom Williams certainly doing very well indeed to make some ground down that left hand side. But the referee had played the advantage. Is going to come back for the earlier infringement. And from an Ayrshire Bulls point of view, that was almost a perfectly well executed move.
It was. They were playing on penalty advantage here for a high tackle, but almost finished perfectly. You can see the threat that when, I keep saying it, when Ayr keep possession, when they look after the possession, and Watsonians' defence is flying forward. If they can get that extra pass away, then there's space on that edge to go. I think Minogue at number 10 is a really cute operator in terms of almost Matador-like bringing that defence up. Almost got away in the corner there. Aaron Tate almost putting Robbie Nairn into the corner, but we come back for the penalty. These are important moments, especially for Ayr, who are trailing on the scoreboard, but it's important to try and get some before half time for them. Watsonians' defence has been excellent so far. Can they hold out just before half time?
Tanner again once more looking to find Everard in the line. The reinforcements coming in, all but 4 Ayrshire Bulls players just in a clutch there of that drive, just trying to break up and force this Watsonians defence, hovering, as we said, with intent just on the edge of that 5 metre line, making some ground, reaching in there. The back row forward, Ryan Sweeney, was trying to release the ball.
Goal line dropout.
It's a turnover.
So we now have a goal line dropout, with Watsonians are able to play the ball downfield here. Now this will be interesting. This is another new law brought into the game. We'll see how Watsonians deal with this.
It's well defended by Watsonians again. Ayrshire Bulls through, as you say, all but 4 of the players into that ball. It's well taken at the front, and then Watsonians somehow managed to hold the ball up over the line, and because it was held up over the line, it's not longer a scrum 5, it's a goal line dropout. So Watsonians kick out from behind their goal line. It can be from anywhere across the field. It doesn't have to be from under the posts. It only has to travel 5 metres. Most teams you expect will kick long and try and get a kick chase, but you can kick short, you can try and find space. It only has to travel 5 metres. And we'll see what Lee Miller and his troops do. An important defensive effort there from the Watsonians pack.
They can now take this dropout from anywhere, just on their own goal line. So Miller just to post to his left hand side, a flat kick which bounces a couple of times and is gathered just on halfway. The acceleration, it was aimed down there towards Ryan Sweeney, who can certainly shift and a real solid coming together of players there. On now towards Thornton. Thornton trying to make some ground as we're eating into the final seconds of this first half. Very interesting contest. It's out on the right hand side now. Aaron Tate is able to reach up and grab the ball, work his way up towards the edge of the 22. Lanack in play. Back now towards the second row forward. Tom Everard, who's been more solid in the line out in recent times. Minogue again on towards Thornton, whose head caught just on the edge of the 22. And recycled once more by Lanack on towards Minogue. Again out on that left hand side, occupying some space. Tom Williams trying to work his way back in, recycled again. Williams trying to lead the line as he's made some ground just on the edge of that 22, and recycled back to Thornton. Thornton, deceptive and very strong, deceptively quick for a loose head prop as well. Minogue out now towards Davidson, the fullback. He's caught in the tackle there by Dominic Coetzee and picked up once again by Lanack. That just bouncing off Fantina, who was coming flying in there, just ricocheted off his shoulder.
That's been thrown forward.
Watsonians are penalised for a forward pass there. That draws the first half to a close. 13 points to 7, the half-time score, with Watsonians in front, courtesy of an early try through Harvey Elms. But of course they opened the scoring inside the first 12 minutes with a Lee Miller penalty. But some half-time highlights to look over, Chris. And Miller, as I say, opened the scoreline 3-0.
Yeah, it was one try apiece, and both teams have had the upper hand at different points in the game. I think Ayr have had certainly more possession. Watsonians have been impressive with the defence. Another half-time score: Ayrshire Bull 7, Watsonian Rugby 13.
So, as we mentioned, Lee Miller opening the scoring. Penalty goal attempt inside 13 minutes to give them the lead. You can see here Cullen's been involved, and clearly there's an active number 9. A lot of the Watsonians could play, but this is exactly what Lee Miller was looking for. His first kick at goal, an awkward kick as well, but well executed.
Yeah, it was well done, wasn't it? And this is the first try of the game. You see how fast and how far up the Watsonians defence are. Coetzee and Berg putting all sorts of pressure on that Ayr attack that want to play, and then striking quickly from the turnover. Harvey Elms running in there. You see from this side, I understand what Ayr are trying to do. Their attacking shapes are good, but there the pressure just forces an error in the pass. Berg picks up, slips it to Harvey Elms, and he's under the sticks, and that gave Watsonians a 10-0 lead. And they were almost, we said at the time, playing almost perfect away from home rugby. Good defence, organised, putting pressure on Ayr, but Ayr hit back. This is the end of the try with Minogue crossing. There was good carry before that from Williams. Blair McPherson, the number 8 and captain, carried really hard. He was well tackled actually under the posts, but from the quick recycle ball, there's Lanack wide past him, Minogue on the outside arc, and he gets outside the defence and scores, and that brought Ayrshire Bulls back into it.
And that was an important stage in the game, and of course out for 18 months it's going to get a bit feisty at times. None more so than this occasion, where there was a coming together. The vast majority of both teams seem to be involved in this one.
Yeah, Ayrshire Bulls did really well to force the turnover from the maul, and they got a bit excited, a bit over exuberant, celebrating. Tom Jordan runs in, and he was penalised for coming in from such a distance to, I suppose, make it even more inflammatory. Lee Miller from 50 metres or nearly 50 metres strikes it really well. This is where Ayr, when they keep possession, get round the outside with that fast blitz from Watsonians, can cause a lot of trouble. Robin Nairn just forced into touch to leave the half-time score as it is.
So Ayrshire Bulls 7, Watsonians Rugby 13 is the half-time score. A glorious first 40 minutes of weather and some thoroughly entertaining half-time play. And the second 40 minutes, well, we're eagerly awaiting the teams back out in the field of play. But a reminder of the half-time score: Ayrshire Bulls 7, Watsonians Rugby 13.
Get them to the edge.
Time here, 13 points to 7 in favour of Watsonians Rugby up against the home side Ayrshire Bulls. The sun is certainly shining here, Chris Paterson. It's a beautiful afternoon. Talk me through that first half. It was pretty close indeed.
It was nip and tuck, wasn't it? I think Ayrshire Bulls started better. They had the kind of intensity in the first few moments, but they didn't get a lot to show for it. And then Watsonians came back in it. It was said in commentary, almost playing the perfect away from home style of rugby, building from their defence. The defence is putting a lot of pressure on Ayrshire Bulls. Ayrshire Bulls probably conceded too many penalties and too many turnovers. And then saying that towards the kind of end of the half, Ayrshire Bulls got back into it. When they keep the ball through a number of phases, the attacking players can really cause Watsonians' defence a bit of trouble. But I'd say Fergus Pringle, the Watsonians rugby coach, will be the happy of the two at the moment.
Absolutely. I mean, there was no score in the first 20 minutes or so. Do you think, you mentioned nerves at the beginning before, do you think maybe that played a wee bit of a part?
I think there's nerves. I think there's a little bit of the unknown quality about it. There's the fact that they've not played. We keep saying they've not played for 18 months. But I also think there was a pressure coming from defence that forced a lot of turnovers. Set piece wasn't great. Both teams had their troubles at the line out. Some penalties that were correctly given by Finlay Brown, but are what we'd class as soft penalties for infringements that shouldn't really be conceding too many of, and that disrupted the flow of the game. But as I say, sometimes it's easier for teams to build in defence because you haven't had a lot of time to practice your attack and in a competitive game situation. So what will we see in the second half? I think we'll see Ayrshire Bulls trying to hold on to possession a lot longer, maybe taking 1 or 2 metres of depth so they can control the possession and try and keep away from that matador or that physical Watsonians defence. Watsonians, if you play for so long without the ball, it can be pretty tiring. They'll be looking to get their hands on the ball as well. Absolutely.
Well, Chris, you've had a busy kind of 45 minutes or so you better hot foot back over to the commentary box. In the meantime, we had a cracking game to open the FOSROC Super 6 rugby on Friday night. It went down to the final minute. Check this out.
And it's the only try of the match, and defeated so far by the boot of Tom Pittman. Taken cleanly. Ferry again will need to get himself out of there. Heriot's driving. They've got a good drive on. Look like they're over the line and they've scored. Well, it's all about the conversion now, but they've gone through and they've gone over well. And Heriots get themselves within 2 points. Their second try of the match. Ian Wilson, the skipper, is delighted. It all comes down to this kick. It was well set up. They wanted to keep it in kickable area. Bruce Houston has this kick to make it 15 points each. Gets the kick away. Oh, it's off the post and across, and Buttermuir will win. What a dramatic ending to the Super 6 opening day. Well, there'll be no consoling Bruce Houston. He would have expected to slot that. His teammates will come up and console him. But Buttermuir Bears, well, they might have felt they were about to lose this. It would have been a draw, but what a feeling for them.
What a tight game there to open the weekend of the FOSROC Super 6 rugby, and it was a win for Buttermuir Bears. Well, second half here at Millbury coming up very shortly. Don't go anywhere.
asking there about.
Dougie Vipond will be back at Golden Acre next Sunday to bring you live action of Heriots Rugby against Southern Knights on Free Sports. Coverage is live once again from 1:15. Okay, time now to head back to Stuart and Chris for the second half.
So welcome back to Millbrae for the second half, and the players, both Watsonians and Ayrshire Bulls, not realising that on the Sunday match you actually have an extra 5 minutes of break time at half time, so they were all out and ready about 5 or 6 minutes ago, but they went down to the respective ends of the field for their second half time huddle, and now they're back, as you can see, ready and about to get underway. Lee Miller will get this second half underway, but as we mentioned, all the way through the first half, very, very warm conditions, and it's that in itself is going to be a test of fitness and endurance for the players.
Absolutely. And as I said at half time, but usually defending's more tiring than attacking, and Watsonians did a lot. They were very good at it, but did a lot of defending in that first half, so they'll look to get their hands on the ball a bit more in the second half.
Carl Main with the first tackle there for Watsonians as it's back through the hands of Ayrshire Bulls. Davidson shipping it out to the right hand side. Minogue involved earlier in the move, and Ayrshire Bulls now up just beyond their own 22, looking to make some ground. A little bit of a breeze, which I think the players will certainly appreciate, just around Millbrae at the moment. That kick partially charged down there, coming back on the Ayrshire Bulls side up towards halfway, and again scrum half goes in. Jordan Lanack just working it towards his loose head prop there. Michael Scott can't make too much ground there. Back towards Lanack. Minogue on this central left hand portion of the field there, doesn't quite gather in there. Ryan Sweeney, ball goes loose. The referee playing a brief advantage, favoring Watsonians after Sweeney just the pass was just a little awkward for him to take on at pace. And we've got the first set play of the second period, with the sides, of course, Ayrshire Bulls 7, Watsonians 13, the scoreline in the early stages of the second.
Same standards, fellas.
Yeah, it's a frustrating one for Ayrshire Bulls to deal with, because that was actually, although the turnover came at the edge, Sweeney with a knock on, it's actually the space to attack. They've actually worked it really well, going wide to wide and trying to exploit that edge on the outside. It was a 3-on-1, I think, but Davidson went through, offloaded, and Sweeney just couldn't quite hold it. It's been impressive. Sweeney with his dynamic ball carrying, he'd be frustrated he couldn't hold on to that, because there was space up this near side, the left side, for Ayrshire Bulls to exploit.
Cullen then, back alongside him.
Use it.
Cullen now is able to grab at the base towards Miller. This time taken forward there. Sear again just trying to make some ground. Ayrshire Bulls playing a high defensive line, winning the penalty. Penalty apiece in the early stages of this second half. Lanack was eager, I think, there just to get on with it, as Watsonians players lift themselves from the deck.
It was a good tackle by Tom Jordan in the midfield, wasn't it, in his opposite number. I think the shot called it for goal. That is 51 metres. Slight wind actually getting up. You just mentioned it there. Sure, it will be just behind Minogue's kick, so it'll favour him slightly, but it just showed you how big an impact a really good defensive tackle can make. Halfway line's just a couple of metres ahead of Matt Minogue here, so it's a big old kick. They're looking to start the second half on the front foot.
Got a nice illustration of the distance there, 50 plus metres. Minogue, of course, scored try, converted his own try inside the first half. He's got all 7 points for Ayr so far. Now how about this effort? That's just drifting wide of the uprights there, but certainly he's plenty of purchase on the ball, but just left of the centres as we're watching, and Watsonians will look to just settle down after one or two sharp moments in the second half, both in defence and attack. But they're protecting a 6 point advantage with the 22 dropout. Miller on this kick lands up with Nairn now, wearing the 19 but occupying the left hand side for Ayrshire Bulls in the second half. 3 players going in, just protecting possession of the ball. Lanack, again the little pod forms, led there by Rory Tanner, the Welsh hooker. Back towards Minogue again, a flatter kick which will bounce. Now this is going to be interesting to see which side of the line missed lands on into the 22, down the touchline, 5 metres from the touch. But was that a tactic to go beyond the dead ball? Yeah.
That's a 50-22. That's a new law in action. So because Matt Minogue kicked that from inside his own half and it indirectly to touch in the opposite 22, Ayr get thrown to this line out. It's a real tactical change of this law trial. Excellent execution, and you can see the net effect. So the idea is that if that's how easy it is to do, if players can do that as well, Watsonians have to drop players to cover that. It's a 50-metre gain plus.
Misunderstanding there. But
we're going to have a look at this. Is it here? So the kick's inside his own half, and it goes out after bouncing inside the opposite 22. And then the line, it was not straight. Excellent execution of the 50-22 law. Unfortunately for Ayrshire Bulls, just wasn't followed up. But you can see the merit in having that kicking in your armoury, and you can see the net effect that it's going to have on defensive teams. They're going to have to drop players back to cover that because it's such a big gain for the attacking team.
I think there's an occasion in the first half where Watsonians were more or less on the very edge of their 10-metre line. I think they were going down again towards the 22, and Robbie Nairn was able to protect the ball from going out of play. So Reece Cullen feeding the ball in. So a change in the Watsonians ranks at half time. You can see that they've got brought on number 19, Kieran Watt, for the second period. As Lee Miller again clears the ball downfield. Robbie Nairn alongside his fullback Matt Davidson. Davidson takes the ball up beyond that 10-metre line. Still he's got strong running there from the fullback. Support coming in. Lanark over the ball just at the moment. And Lanark out there towards Minogue. Blindside flanker Ryan Sweeney taking the ball on. Again, Watsonians coming all the way flying through there. Carl Main is penalised, and now a chance here for Fantina. Fantina, lovely turn of pace there, and great through the foot from Fantina up to within 5 metres of the line. Ayrshire Bulls, remember, a converted score would take them back, it would take them in front for the first time in the contest. They're trailing by 13 points to 7, and they're camped practically on that Watsonians try line. Back it comes to the big rangy second row forward there, Tom Everard. He takes the ball into the contact situation, and that secondary pass and drive has them across the line. Referee Finlay Brown having a good long hard look at that, and again them coming together. George Thornton, I think Chris, it's Thornton that's going to be awarded the score. See Graham Ormiston is up with Finlay Brown there, just trying to calm the flames there, as both sets of players rather heated in both defence and attack. But Ayrshire Bulls are back to within a point.
Yeah, it was a good attack, wasn't it? George Thornton finishing off for that pick and goal, but it came from the counter attack initially. Matt Davidson carried it, and then there's a brilliant late pass from Bloodworth to Fantini. Fantini's been impressive as well over the ball. He was impressive there in attack, and he got almost to the line. He was dragged down just short, I think, by Cal Davis, and then there's the finish off. 1 or 2 phases later, George Thornton driving over low, hard to the ground, and it's hard to stop from that range. There's the finish again, but a good build up from the Ayrshire Bulls. Again, we said it, if they can retain possession, if they can turn under pressure, they will get their opportunities. Good play, especially from Fantini, and well finished off by Thornton.
And Minogue adding the extras, so another 2 points. So for the first time in the match, with almost 48 minutes exactly played, it's Ayrshire Bulls 14, Watsonians Rugby 13, so home side in front, and a spring in the step at the start of this second period. But just going back very quickly to that 50-22 kick, again you could see as we were watching, we're trying to anticipate the bounce of the ball. Was it going to carry over the in-goal area, or was it going to go out to play? And really from that platform, that seemed to lift Ayrshire Bulls, and ultimately they've landed a converted try.
It's Fantini again, so strong over ball, but he's really coming into this game in attack as well with his footwork.
Lanark controlling it with the studs of the boot, squats down, delivers the high up and under, carried forward there by the fullback Jamie Forbes, recycled by Miller. Long look pass there by Lewisberg out towards the left hand side. Watsonians trying to just stretch this Ayrshire Bulls defence. Forwards now coming in just to add their bulk and presence. Cullen again eager to get on with things. Flat pass there from Miller, taken on this time by Angus Williams, the tight head prop. Cullen quickly in behind. Two players down this right hand side for Watsonians, taken forward there by Badenhorst. Cullen in behind him. Carl Main again. Pass goes a little bit loose. Fantini was almost on it there, and Ayrshire Bulls latching onto that loose bit of. Taken forward this time by Michael Scott. You can see he's just a fraction over the halfway line. Reinforcements coming in. Lanack, Thornton, latest try scorer. Minogue slipped as he tried to slide the kick through there on the ground. The referee penalised Watsonians there, offside decision, and that was a short period of advantage there for Ayrshire Bulls, so they'll come back for this opportunity on the 10.
Yeah, advancing in front of the kicker. Minogue was unlucky, actually slipped as he kicked it because he looked to kick open to the right hand side, but it was well covered by Loman McPherson, and at the last minute spun on his heels to kick up the middle where the space was, but in doing so he slipped, and then because there was players advancing ahead of the ball, I think it was Bloodworth that was penalised. To come back for the penalty. Good defence again from Watsonians. You can see the threat that Ryan Sweeney and Fantini, the two back row players for Ayr, are having the ball in hand in this second half. That's a poor effort from Lee Miller to miss touch, and well cleared from Lanack.
Cullen watches the ball in flight there, bounces just to his left hand side. He's able to gather on his own 22. He's got some ground to run into. Block challenge coming in, two players closing him down, one of them being Robbie Nairn, who stays on his feet. Cullen goes to deck, recycled by Jamie Forbes. Cycled once again, so the Watsonians replacement at half time, Kieran Watt, becoming increasingly involved in the action just at the moment. Full back picked up there, Forbes just mopping things up. A few Watsonians players looking just a little weary as they get to their feet. Cullen on towards Miller there. That seems to just hold up in a little bit of breeze picking up around Millbrae at the moment, and it's back now with Ayrshire Bulls and carried there by Robbie Nairn. Watsonians again winning the penalty, and they were looking to take it quickly there through Sam Daly. It was marked there, so that was good work all round by the visiting side. We're now trailing the game 14-13. That Thornton try converted by Minogue, the only points in the second period.
Yeah, it was Carl Main who won the penalty. He's been really impressive, that light blue scrum cap winning penalties. He's been a physical presence around almost every breakdown, in all honesty, but technically he was very good there. As you can see that, you know, Ayrshire Bulls are looking to try and play out of that corner, put in the corner by Lee Miller's kick, and then Ayrshire Bulls trying to play out of there through Nairn and Lanack. But because the first tackle was good, I think it was Harvey Elms that was in with the tackle, and then Carl Main, as quick as a flash, over the top of the ball, and it was rewarded again from the referee because he tried to lift the ball in that jackal position. Good play by the number 6.
And they go for the corner. So just prodded into the corner there by Miller. And Carl Davis, one of the Watsonians vice captains, makes his way across to the 22 for this throw-in. Better execution this time, all round by Watsonians. Davis ball tucked under his right arm, and that 22 trying to make some ground. Cullen takes a few steps to the side. Cullen has it now. He's got support up there. 2-3 players coming onto that. Lewisberg was very close to it, just ricocheted off the palms of his hands. So a Watsonians knock on just as they were about to encroach inside the Ayrshire Bulls 22, and it remains a 1-point match. Ayrshire Bulls 14, Watsonians 13. 12 minutes of the second half played.
Yeah, I think you can see the effect of a couple of things here. One, the heat and how hot it is, and the kind of drop in intensity really from the first half. And as we say that, there's 3 replacements coming on for Watsonians. It's clever management because you can see the intensity has dropped down a little bit. They haven't played for so long, we know that, we keep saying that, but also the heat today, and with the squad you have, it's the right thing to do to make changes, and this is a really good time to make changes.
See, Harry Fisher has made his way off. Carl Davis has also left the field of play. I see loose ball is on. The former German under-18 cap and a spell at Rotherham. He's going to be in that scrum now for Watsonians, and I guess Ross Graham will be on as well in that front row. Rhys Cullen then looking just to feed the ball into this scrummage, so some fresher legs and faces inside that front and second row for Watsonians. They made the half-time change, bringing Kieran Watt onto the field of play. So what's that, 4 changes now in the forwards?
And you can see the opposition, the opportunity here. Sorry for Watsonians. The scrums for 18, maybe 20 metres in from the touchline, and only Robin Ayrne at the left-hand side of the scrum for Ayr defending. So if this is a solid scrum, or even a right shoulder up for Watsonians, it creates an 8-9 for Rhys Cullen with Harvey Elms in this right-hand side.
Cullen then stays upright,
still on.
Then Scott's down, picked up in the number 8 position. Cullen now, still he's got it. Oh, the pass was just around the ankles there. Harvey Elms was coming on at a rate of knots there, looking for his second try of the game, but just knocking the ball forward. You're having to sort of scoop down and lift the ball off the toes of his feet there, but nothing coming there. Cullen hands on the hips. That was perhaps a missed opportunity.
It was. I think Cullen should maybe have given the pass right away, because it was exactly what we predicted, a solid scrum from Watsonians, and Ayrshire Bull should really have had another defender over that left hand side. It was well noticed by Daly and Cullen and Harvey Elms, and if the pass had just either been a fraction earlier or a fraction higher, Harvey Elms would probably begin. Well done to Robin Ayrne for holding off, not biting in too early, and making Watsonians or Rhys Cullen make that difficult decision. But yeah, Ayrshire Bull's got away with it there really, because they left that space to be exposed.
Feeding the ball in, but the penalty being awarded to Ayrshire Bulls. And again, no love lost between these sides. A little bit of sarcasm perhaps shared by the respective front rows, and Ayrshire Bulls winning that little battle. So Minogue will be able to clear from his 22, make some ground.
Good catch this one, Stuart.
Just about. Just lands in a tree behind us and bounces to the ground. Referee just having a quick word there with Harrison Courtney. Watsonians loose head propped Canterbury cap back in 2019, and is also Scotland qualified. Ayrshire Bulls throw in then. Again, one just in the middle of the line by Edward Bloodworth. Certainly at centre of attention at line out time. Lanack again goes in just to lend a hand. Ayrshire Bulls looking just to retain possession of the ball outside. This is becoming a critical point in the game, just a point separating the sides, approaching the hour mark. The high up and under, and again that's gathered and able to work his way around some space there. The Watsonians left winger Harvey Elms. Elms does extremely well, and look at that, the pass infield, it just opened up for Watsonians, and in goes Jamie Forbes for a try that gives the visitors the lead once again. Harvey Elms there, he looked so assured underneath the high ball, and then he went off on a solo run down this right hand side, and it almost seemed too easy for the visitors. Finished off by the fullback Jamie Forbes, and Watsonians are back in front.
Brilliant try from Forbes, and so much of the hard work done by Harvey Elms. He was under that position, the box kick was a metre too long, but look how quick he is on his feet to get away from Robin Ayrne right away. Then the chip and chase, it gets a bounce. Fortunate really it comes inside Lanack, but he's there supporting as Harvey Elms. Perfectly timed pass back inside to Forbes, who scorches through just to the right of the post. Excellent counter-attack try. Not on Harvey Elms having the spatial awareness to know just as soon as he catches that ball to evade the tackle and then get the head up. The chip and chase, a little bit fortunate with a bounce, but well done. Great pass on the inside as well. And that comes after a sustained period of pressure, as Lee Miller chips over the extras. A sustained period of pressure that Watsonians have had in that Ayrshire Bulls 22.
And you'd imagine that both sides, with increasing regularity, will go to the bench to freshen things up, bring on some fresh ideas and instructions as well. But Watsonians find themselves back in front now. 14-20 the scoreline, just 2 minutes shy of the hour mark. And of course we've had two thoroughly entertaining matches in the first round of the FOSROC Super6 so far, with Boroughmuir winning 15-13 on Friday night, and a 24-all draw between Stirling County and Southern Knights yesterday afternoon. Recycled again, taken on by Ayrshire Bulls. They won the kick from the restart. Tanner trying to make some ground, forced backwards. Lanac on towards Minogue. He prods one just cross field, and that ricochets off Watsonians' hands and goes into touch. An attacking platform for Ayrshire Bulls back inside Watsonians' territory.
It was a good reply actually from Ayrshire. It was a great kick-off from Minogue, loads of height. The ball was swinging in the air, and it was actually Fantini who caught it above his head with a floating ball to win possession back, and then the chip over the top. She's really been dealt with a little bit better by Loman McPherson, but for Ayrshire Bulls to win the ball back from that kick-off was some excellent work from Anderson.
Three spots a Watsonian's hand, a knock on in the air, so Ayrshire Bulls will have another attacking platform. It's recognising a very competitive line out, which has improved during the course of the game. There's a lot of mistakes in particularly the line out set play early on in the game. That has improved.
It has improved, and again it's just time together, isn't it? I mean, it's these things where you can make lineouts live at training against your own players, but it doesn't replicate A, the match pressure, and B, the match intensity that you're going to come up against for your first competitive game for a while. But the pleasing thing for the coaches and the players as well is they've solved the issues they've had, both sides actually, in the first half. So there will be times, of course there'll be times where you lose your line out, but to get it right on the field is a pleasing thing.
This time Watsonians on the far side collapsing in the scrum, so the loose head prop there, Harrison Courtney, is the player penalised in the scrummage, and Minogue eager to get on with things, just to prod this one into the 22, just continue to apply the pressure as Ayrshire Bulls look to get back in front in this contest. They're a converted try away from taking the lead once again, as we've played just over an hour of the game, and plenty of positive talking points in this first live Sunday afternoon match in the competition.
Yeah, I'm not surprised they've opted to kick that to touch. It could maybe have pushed it a little bit further, Minogue into the corner. It's just inside the 22, but it must be a 9 or 10 man line out again from the Ayrshire Bulls.
And Bulls again looking to really apply some pressure now, as some replacements are now getting involved in the action. Recycled again, Lanac just biding his time, and see that Ayrshire Bulls have got Aaron Tate just in the back of that drive. First replacement, still they're going, eking further into that 22. This is real power shown here by the home side, and again they look to try and control it at walking pace, but Watsonians don't seem to have any answer at the moment. The referee Finlay Brown up with play again. They look for a secondary drive here as they begin to splinter. Out it comes once more, on there towards Minogue. Nairn, has he got the strength, and the reach is down despite the best efforts there of fullback Jamie Forbes, and Nairn lifts himself off the deck, and that was a very important score from an Ayrshire Bulls point of view at this stage in the game, to bring them back to within a point of Watsonians with the kick to come. Incessant forward pressure, the ball eventually played out, finding its way. The one-on-one situation, he was round Forbes and in for the score.
Yeah, so much space for Robin Nairn, wasn't it? It came from that massive maul. There must have been 9 or 10 players in it to start with, and it just crept towards the line. Ball was always under control, always moving forward. And then when it did come out, because there's so many people in that breakdown, you have to score, and Robin Nairn did exactly that. He got on the outside of Forbes, and a good pass from Minogue. Puts a big winger on the left hand side, but it came from that pressure. You think back to since Watsonians scored, they've lost the kick off, they've fumbled the ball that's given Ayrshire Bulls the line out, then they conceded a penalty, and from there that was the platform to set up that try. So good play by Ayrshire Bulls, frustrating if you're a Watsonians point of view.
Minogue to give Ayrshire Bulls the lead once more, to restore a 1 point lead for the home side. That looks pretty good from here. The assistant referees raise the flags, and Ayrshire Bulls in front by 21 points to 20, and we're now well into the closing quarter of the game.
The important thing with mauls with so many players is you have to look after the possession. You have to stay in control of the ball. If that goes down, you obviously don't get the ball back. It's a turnover, but also when it does come out, there's so few players on their feet, you have to make it count. And Minogue in there
from the restart. Ayrshire Bulls again just protecting possession on the edge of the 22. Bernat with a little look towards the right hand side. Pressure being applied there by the back row forward, Ryan Sweeney. Double to the ground. Ayrshire Bulls players looking just to make some further inroads into their own half of the field. Clear direction given by our referee Finlay Brown as Lynette lines up the box kick, aimed down the Watsonians' right hand side, and again taken on this time by Forbes in the air under no real pressure out towards Miller. Floated pass, that could have been risky, but taken on there by Watsonians up towards the halfway line. For the Ayrshire Bulls changes, and Alex Maguire is on as the replacement hooker in that front row as well for the final 18 minutes of the game. Watsonians winning the penalty, and they now just a point behind. Will have to not necessarily chase the game, but just try and engineer a few openings to test this Ayrshire Bulls defence again. 5 tries in the game so far. Finally poised a difficult one to goal.
Yeah, absolutely, and the fitness will have an effect as well. He's just spoken about the bench and the impact the bench can make, and the cohesion. But ultimately, games as close as this, it's a discipline that you have to get right. The knock-on effect or the net effect of giving 2 or 3 penalties away in quick succession or piggybacking penalties has a massive effect on the game. So the leaders, the players out there should be focusing on sticking to their systems, but also being really clean in terms of your discipline.
Watsonians. It was a dummy throw penalised by the referee in the first half. So just taking their time here, and again gathered just at the back of the line, but some perhaps a little bit uncertainty. Watsonians are able to mop up though, and taken on again by tight head prop Angus Williams. Watsonians players coming onto the ball at a rate of knots now, just trying to drive and be very direct in the play. Kieran Watt starting his bulk as well as the ball goes loose. It was almost hacked forward there, but well read by Jamie Forbes, who was committed. He had hands down and was able to gather the ball, and Rhys Cullen has it now in that section of pitch between the 10 and the 22. Cullen again on towards Miller. Again they're working it down the left hand side. Watsonians have the advantage. Ayrshire Bulls going to be penalised for a high challenge. Cullen runs into some trouble, and the referee Finlay Brown just brings play back for that high challenge. And Watsonians, Miller will go for the corner and look to apply. Oh no, in fact they're going for the posts.
Well, the tee came on pretty quickly. I think that's the right decision. There's a replay, just a high tackle. Yes, the player's low, but there's contact with the head, and I think Lee Miller was expecting to kick to the corner, and the tee was there, and as soon as the tee's on, that makes a decision.
His body language, he was lining up a kick to the corner. The decision really made for him.
I think this is the right decision as well. We spoke about discipline and how important it is. Then I think if there's an opportunity, and this is how Watsonians have had success so far in this game, they've taken the opportunities when they've come. This is an opportunity to hit back.
Miller of course landed the first penalty goal in the game to give them a 3-0 lead. It's landed conversions and a second penalty. It's not going to be far away. Another successful 3 points for Miller and for Watsonians, and that means that Watsonians are back in front, and they now lead by 23 points to 20 here at Millbrae. That means a very warm, sunny 1st of August Sunday afternoon here, and you can see there another change in the Ayrshire Bulls ranks. They've brought on Christian Townsend, and he'll get the match restarted. Back on Townsend then from halfway. So that change for Ayrshire Bulls. Minogue is off, and on is Christian Townsend, and Alex Maguire is on for Rodri Tanner. So a change at fly half and hooker for the home side. We're back trailing by 2 points now as Watsonians again just trying to lift the tempo on the edge of their 22. Brilliant acceleration here. Covered defence provided there by Ayrshire Bulls and Alex Maguire. And Watsonians knocking forward as they were taking the ball into the contact situation, spotted by Finlay Brown. And after some real acceleration shown by a clutch of players from their own 22, the move breaks down just beyond the 10 metre line. and Ayr will have the opportunity and attacking platform as we go into the final 12 minutes of the game.
Yeah, it's just good cover defence from Ayrshire Blues, isn't it? You can see they had to be good because Watsonians were hitting that line pretty hard and at pace. I think it was Coetzee who almost got away, got his hands free, and then just that temptation to throw that extra pass. I think it's the right thing to do. I think if you get a defence sliding like that, you know, I think, you know, it sounds risky, but I do like the attacking mindset of Watsonians there.
Both nines have had a serious workout this afternoon on that, the latest to feed the ball into the scrum, and both offer, I guess, something a little bit different. But again, it's a learning exercise for many of these players. A lot of returning to the Watsonians ranks, but haven't necessarily played together all that often. And the same could be said for Ayrshire Bulls. The recruitment has been far and wide and has been quite extensive when you compare the squads to the squads from the first season of FOSROC Super6 matches. None more so than the Australian with hands on the ball at the moment, Jordan Lanack. Before he could feed the ball into the scrum, there's an issue perhaps with engagement there, but a penalty nonetheless been awarded to Watsonians, and a chance for them to work their way back into the Ayrshire Bulls half of the field with this 2-point lead intact.
We keep coming back to them in these close games of discipline. We said it 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago. It resulted in an opportunity for Watsonians to push ahead through Lee Miller's kick a goal. And now it's given an opportunity for Lee Miller to take some territory and apply more pressure on Ayrshire Bulls. 22, or just outside of 22, I think it was Henderson who was penalised for just setting up in on the angle, not setting up straight, but tight head prop.
Throwing then to Watsonians, just on the edge of the 22. And just feeding that towards the back of the line. Again, Watsonians looking at Sam Daly at the back of the line out, and controlled here, the back of the drive, ball tucked under the right arm. Cullen will have it now on, he just bypasses a couple of the centres. Baird coming on to play there, was able just to squat and check, the grubber kick runs through the inside centre, then is chasing after it. Coetzee, that was asking quite a lot of Coetzee, but the advantage was being played there by Watsonians, so it was a bit of a free ball for them to prod into the Ayrshire 22. The referee will come back for the earlier infringement. The clock continues to tick down, and once again Chris, no great surprise given the mindset of the players, and just what you've been saying about just securing good game management. Watsonians going to go for another 3 points, and they've got a good man to find those 3.
Yeah, he's kicked well, hasn't he, Lee Miller? And it is just that we keep saying it's this penalty now. Sometimes you look at the final tally of penalties at the end of the game, it doesn't tell you the whole story. It's more definite to look at the number of consecutive penalties, and in the last 5 or 6 minutes I think it must be 4, maybe even 5 consecutive penalties gone against the Ayrshire Bulls, and as a result it's allowing Watsonians to control possession, control territory, and get themselves in front.
So if he lands this, that'll be his 4th successful penalty of the game. Miller then to extend Watsonians' advantage, to give them a lead of 5 points. He has, and the home side a bit of work to do in the closing stages of this game. Remember, they won the corresponding fixture in the opening season by 19 points to 13, with Watsonians winning at Maya side. And Watsonians again looking to go to the bench to make replacements in that front row. And I think they brought on their Argentine prop forward, Arguiro, who for the final few seconds against Fantini is the player leading the charge from the kick-out, trying to disrupt any options that Watsonians will have to gather and girdle the ball from the restart kick, knocking the ball forward there. And this is the first scrimmage for Argentina.
He's so close to scoring there, believe it or not. A great kick-off from Christian Townsend, like the Minogue's one before. It gives you the opportunity to compete, and he's been really impressive, Fantini. First of all in the first half defensively and in that jack-up position, but then second half, especially attacking wise, and he's unfortunate not to take that. I like the look of him as a player, and as I say, that ability to win the ball in there. He didn't win it there, but if he did, it's almost a free run to the line. comes from a good contestable kick and a good chase, but ultimately it's another opportunity for the experience of the Watsonians and experience of Lee Miller to guide his team, Sam Daly, off the back of the scrum around this park.
New scrum half alongside Rhys Cullen for Watsonians. 21 is Harry Ward. He's on for Jordan Lanack. His afternoon is done, you'd imagine, at this stage in the game, with just over 6 minutes of the match left to play. Ayrshire Bulls are chasing this one, 5 points separating the sides. 26-21 the visitors lead, but Ayrshire Bulls just on the edge of the Watsonians 22. Been warm and exhausting again. Fantini was just trying to wrestle and release possession of the ball there from an Ayrshire Bulls point of view.
Rhys Cullen was quite cute there. The ball bounced, it bobbled out, he got a hold of it, and then it was Blair McPherson just wondering if it was a rip, because the referee had called tackle, because Rhys Cullen was cute. He got his knees to the ground, which effectively means it's the tackle complete. The defenders have to release, and as they release, they rip the ball, they strip the ball, so it was close. The ball's just landed in the commentary box and they've dropped it. Multitasking. As the referee called tackle, the Ayrshire Bulls players had to release, and they did, but they took the ball with them, so Fantini was penalised there.
Maybe get a ball boys fee for that. Between us, we managed to return it to the pitch.
I knocked it on 3 times, I think.
My knock was backwards there. Play on. Watsonians in possession of the ball just now with Ross Graham, one of the second half replacements off the bench. And Watsonians now trying to make some ground again. Cullen wrestling, he's knocked backwards. Ayrshire Bulls forcing the issue just a little bit, as you'd imagine. 26-21 the scoreline. And these battles are going to just increasing in intensity as we close in on full time.
That's an important one there, to shift that momentum. Important for Ayrshire Bulls, because the momentum's gone against them. We keep saying it through that penalty, number of penalties in quick succession, but 4.5 minutes to go. It's only a 5-point game, and if Watsonians had controlled that and kept possession and put them behind, put in the right areas of the field, stressed the Ayrshire Bulls, it'd have been pretty difficult for Ayrshire Bulls to get back in. But as it stands, it's an attacking opportunity on halfway where they're put into the scrum. Big swing in the game.
Just looking down there that Rory Sauce and Ewan Bulger are on the field of play for Ayrshire Bulls, so changes there. George Thornton off the field of play, the loose head prop, one of the Ayrshire Bulls try scorers. He's been replaced in the front row. Looked as if they might look to replace the hooker, but they've gone with a replacement in the second row. Edward Bloodworthy is off the field of play. Bloodworth, engineering degree student. I think he's now completed his course and just make his way to the changing rooms. Now this is an interesting attacking platform here, right on halfway this scrummage. Harry Ward feeding the ball into the scrum. Tom Eberhard has actually been replaced as well for Ayrshire Bulls in the second row, so changes are plenty as Ward squats down. The referee just gets the players to stand and will walk in the middle again.
Yeah, we say it's an interesting scrum, but it is because this near side, the left hand side of the Ayrshire Bulls scrum is an inviting place for Ayrshire Bulls to attack if they get Townsend's directly behind the scrum, as is Robbie Nairn, so they can go either way. They can go open, they can close. Harvey Elms on the right hand side of the scrum for Watsonians has to work alongside Rhys Cullen to defend this near side, so there's opportunities for Ayrshire Bulls if they get a solid scrum.
Ward looking there, McPherson on to Ward, taken on this time by 22, that's Christian Townsend. Back towards Ward, tries that grubber kick there, it's picked up on that right hand side. Now Watsonians caught defensively, but they can slow down this Ayrshire Bulls attack at the second attempt. Ward goes in again, looking to feed the ball in. Fantini's in position, he lurches down just to try and get a little bit of purchase on the ball and forward momentum. Ward once again on towards Townsend, taken forward there, replacement front row at power. Alex Maguire, replacement hooker there, making some ground into the 22. Ward has a little look once again, he's able to feed towards Townsend. 15 metres in from touch on the left hand side. Ayrshire Bulls got an advantage here. It's a bit of free ball. Townsend on towards the outside centre. Tom Williams floated out towards Fantini. He's been moving about all over the edge of the 22. Forward pass. The referee then had identified the forward pass. No advantage coming the way of Ayrshire Bulls on this occasion. Comes back towards the edge of the 22.
Yeah, I think it's loose ball, not rolling away in the tackle. Yeah, he made an excellent tackle. The big back rower got caught. We said in the first half he got caught on the wrong side and just couldn't get out. But so the remedy is don't get on the wrong side to start with, which is difficult if you want to make a dominant tackle like he did. But from that advantage, a couple of really nice passes from Christian Townsend. One sending Maguire through, and that second one releasing the midfield who released Fantini, but it just drifted forward that second pass. But it's a big moment in the game, obviously. Penalty inside the 22. Obviously, Ayrshire Bulls are going to kick to the... Well, no, obviously, I'd imagine they kick to the corner. They might take a scrum, they might tap, but certainly won't kick at goal, being 5 points down. Only a couple of minutes left. They scored from the last penalty. They kicked the touch close to the goal line, didn't they, from that massive drive. So
George Thornton's Robin Nairn's try.
Robin Nairn's try, yeah. Originated from a maul. So we'll see what happens here.
Yeah. Minogue, Thornton and Nairn, the try scorers for Ayrshire Bulls. Harvey Elms, Jamie Forbes scoring tries for Watsonians. Lee Miller adding the extra points for the visiting side. Closing in on full time. Ayrshire Bulls then trying to lead the charge as the ball goes towards the corner. Instructions coming the way there of Rory Sauce, the replacement loose head prop. And the throw in now, Maguire looking to throw in towards the middle of the line. That part is well executed. He then joins in the drive here. We talked about the power with Thornton barging his way over from close range, and a try as well courtesy of Robbie Nairn, but it's loose now and it's taken on once again by Maguire round the corner. He tries to straighten up. Wars in behind him. The referee is whistled up. Watsonians will continue to defend manfully just to try and ensure they remain 5 points in front. And we're looking at this stage in the game, Chris, who would you fancy as your man of the match?
It's so difficult, isn't it? I think there's been I think it put me in a position. I think Matt Minogue's been outstanding for Ayr in his time at 10. I think Yari Fantini, number 7 for Ayrshire Bulls. I think Lee Miller has been excellent, number 10 as well. Sam Daly, number 8 for Watsonians.
We'll give you a moment.
So do I need to call it now?
We'll give you a moment.
Give me a minute
to think about that. There have been plenty contenders for player of the match in the game. As we watch on Harry Ward just receiving a few more instructions from his backs, from Robin Nairn in particular. Townsend is behind him. Cullen with his hands just on his knees as he watches on. Ward then, a 5 metre scrum for Ayrshire Bulls. Clock's back on, 5 point game. Watsonians protecting a 26-21 lead. This for an opening weekend victory away from home in the FOSROC Super 6 back underway as it was on Friday evening. Picked up at the base there by the powerful number 8 Blair McPherson, the Ayrshire Bulls captain. How he would love to score and turn things round at the very end of the contest. Still they recycle. War once again just trying to work it, as you can see, along from underneath his posts to the right hand side and back towards Townsend. That ricocheting just off the chest there of Tom Jordan. And Watsonians feel that was an almighty defensive effort that comes good, forcing Ayrshire Bulls into the mistake. A huge game in the game. Ayrshire Bulls 21, Watsonians 26. 90 seconds of the match left to play.
Well, I've had time and I've made my decision on the FOSROC Player of the Match. It's going to be the Watsonians captain, the number 10, Lee Miller. He's kicked his goals, he's guided his team around the park, he's made big decisions at the right time. Sam Daly, just inside him as the number 8, was outstanding as well. But Lee Miller, the Watsonians number 10, is today's FOSROC man of the match.
I have to say that when you look at his contribution, got the opening points of the game in 12 minutes. and he's closed the game out, you would think, for Watsonians, but certainly Ayrshire Bulls will have other ideas. They've still time to turn things around, but this is a very important scrummage for Watsonians here, and they'll call upon all their experience. One of the smallest men on the field has certainly covered just about every blade of grass as well, Rhys Cullen, and he's enjoying his return to playing domestic rugby in Scotland. As we mentioned, he's a good exponent of the Sevens game, but I mean, these players are delighted to have 80 minutes behind them, particularly the team that ultimately wins.
And we'll be delighted we're here because this is a massive important, obviously, moment of the match. The first two games of the FOSROC Super 6 this week have gone down to the very last kick of the game. Here we are with less than a minute to go, a one-score game. This is where the leaders need that direction and the execution from the exit.
Yeah, it's certainly been an encouraging opening weekend from the overall competition point of view, as Watsonians again just camped on the edge of their 22 just now. They'll be aware that just over 30 seconds of the game left to play, and again Cullen just directing operations as the forwards will just try and make up a little bit of ground. The latest charge led there by Ross Graham.
This is difficult for Watsonians because it's almost too long to play this game without risking a penalty. They've won the penalty back. 30 seconds, sometimes that style of play works in the last 10 or 12 seconds, but they had to stay disciplined. They did, and Sweeney's on the wrong side. Roll away penalty again, and Watsonians have managed to manage that last period of the game very, very well. A difficult 40 seconds there, but they've done really well.
Yeah. Dejected group of Ayrshire Bulls players have to admit defeat on the opening match of this campaign for both these sides. A FOSROC Super 6 victory in the end for Watsonians by 26 points to 21. 5 tries scored in the match. Ayrshire Bulls scoring 3 of the 5 tries. Minogue, their new Ayrshire Bulls fly half, Matthew Minogue, the Australian, scoring their opening try, converting his own try to give them their first points in the game. At that stage they were trailing the match by 13 points to 7. Then Thornton added a second try, Robbie Nairn a third try to, at one stage Watsonians trailed the game. Ayrshire Bulls had a narrow advantage, but Watsonians scored 2 themselves, Harvey Elms and Jamie Forbes either side of half time. And it was always going to be a difficult game to call. It was always a closely fought contest. These players have been able to blow away many of the cobwebs that they've wanted rid of over the last 18 months. But plenty of highlights to look back on this opening live Sunday fixture.
Yeah, congratulations to Watson coming away from home and winning. This is how it all started. Their defence was so impressive in the first half, putting pressure on the Ayrshire Bulls attack and enforcing the other pick up by Lewisburg, slip to Harvey Elms, who was impressive. We'll see his contribution for one of the later tries for Watsonians in a moment or so, but that was the first try of the day, where Ayrshire Bulls, you can see what they're trying to do, but it just wasn't quite accurate enough, and Berg and Elms reacted quickest and finished off Harvey Elms with a try underneath the posts.
And at that stage, of course, they'd already scores on the board with Miller, but this a great response here from Ayrshire Bulls.
It was, and they needed it 10-0 down at this point, and it was the first time they really had sustained pressure in the opposition 22, and you can see when they keep possession, they have got attacking players with attacking mentality, and it was Minogue who's one of those players who crossed for the first try. He kicked that conversion as well and had a good game, actually, the little standoff. And then this was a penalty that was initially won by Ayrshire Bulls and then overturned for a bit of over exuberance from Tom Jordan, the Ayrshire Bulls number 12, and it's a double whammy because going from winning the penalty to then the penalty being turned over was then 3 points for Lee Miller, who kicked really well all day.
And here's your man of the match landing the penalty, 13 points to 7 at half time.
And Ayrshire Bulls came out better in the second half, really. It looked as if Watsonians tired a little bit. This came from a counter-attack from initially started from I think Matt Davidson, and then Fantino going through. It was George Thornton there just dotting down next to the post, and that put Ayrshire Bulls ahead, close to the line, and the former Glasgow Warriors finding the space and scoring.
Yeah, Thornton's try, that was converted, the second converted try, and as Chris mentioned, at that stage in the game then, Ayrshire Bulls were in front, so a very productive start to the second half for them. Now how about this for a break?
This is brilliant, this is hard under pressure, getting on the outside, chipping, regathering, fortunate a little bit with the ball, bouncing inside Lanark, but then that pass there to Forbes, drawing the defender, Jamie Forbes scoring. But it was Harvey Elms, having scored in the first half, had a massive hand in that in the second half. Great to see a lot of time spent on the 7th circuit, Harvey Elms, and you can see just that dynamism and that skill set where the catch, the step, the chip, the chase, the regather, the pass, excellent. And that came after Watsonians had again turned the tables and put a lot of pressure on Ayrshire Bulls. And from this point, Ayrshire Bulls, they did come back and score, but the momentum was slipping away from them, really, from a discipline point of view. This is Robin Ayrn's try after the 10-man driving maul from the line out, and when it did pop out, Lanark passed, Minogue got that wide pass out to Robin Ayrn. There's no one else left out there, and Robin Ayrn does well to finish. They had to score that, but then the discipline counted against Ayrshire Bulls, and Lee Miller was able to take full advantage and put his side ahead.
So 26 points to 21. Watsonians then top the table after one round of fixtures, with of course Boroughmuir Bears picking up a narrow victory on Friday evening over Heriots by 15 points to 13. Southern Knights and Stirling County's match yesterday finished 24 points all. So that's the live action here at Millbrae. We'll take a quick break and hear from the man of the match.
Well, I'm delighted to say I'm joined by Lee Miller on the victorious Watsonians rugby side. Lee, congratulations. Can you just tell me how impressed you are with your side and the effort you guys put in today to get the win?
Yeah, it was, first of all, it's great to get the win. I say the boys dug deep at the end there. Ayr put us under a lot of pressure, which we knew they would. Big physical side, so I think we didn't make it easy for ourselves. We have a lot to take away and kind of look at next week with a short turnaround, but I can't fault the effort at the end there. The boys dug deep and we came away with the wins, which we wanted to see.
It was a pretty topsy-turvy second half, things going back and forth the whole time. How pleased were you with how you guys, even going down, were resilient and came back and scored again?
Yeah, definitely. Like, credit to the boys. It's what we talk about, is having that kind of character to kind of dig deep when it counts. I think the first half we got off to a great start. Kind of had a ropey bit when we let them back into it, and kind of our discipline kind of killed us at times as well. But like as I say, I can't fault the effort. You know, nice hot day on a Sunday. It was a great effort and it's a great win.
Maybe a wee bit too toasty for you guys on the pitch, but you guys haven't played a competitive match for 18 months or so. What does it mean to you now to be on the field competing again in this league?
Yeah, it's great to be back. I think the boys have been chomping a bit to get going. Obviously we tried to start last year and didn't get going, so it was a bit downheartening then, but as I say, it's great to get started in summer rugby. You can't really complain.
And finally, a quick word on the league itself as well. How great an opportunity is this for you guys to help try and bridge the gap between club and professional rugby?
I mean, it's a great opportunity. As you can see from the 3 games over the weekend, they're really close, so it's a very competitive league, and it's great for the young guys as well. Obviously we've got academy players to come in, so it's great for them to get experience, and as senior players can help them, and if we can push them on to better things, then it's what we aim to do. So.
Absolutely. Well, very well done today, Lee. You are the FOSROC Super6 Player of the Match, and Cal is here to present you with your medal. Well, on that positive note, that concludes our opening weekend's coverage of the FOSROC Super6 rugby weekend. It really has been absolutely fantastic. But from all of us here at glorious Millbrae, we'll be back next weekend for more action. We hope you have a lovely rest of your Sunday afternoon. Bye-bye for now.